Have you ever met one of those people who just can't be stopped? It's like they're unstoppable.
Yeah, I have.
Me too.
What's their mystique?
Nothing stops these people.
Don't stop.
Welcome to Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso. You're about to meet some of the most amazing people.
Stop. Don't stop.
They've accomplished their goals despite insurmountable odds. They beat adversity, physical hardship, and traumatic events, and emerged triumphantly. They're people just like you and me, and they're winners. Are you unstoppable? Here's Frankie to show you how.
Hello there, and welcome to Mission Unstoppable Radio. I am your host, Frankie Picasso, and I am so pleased that you have joined us again today. We are going on a new mission, yay, as usual, and today is with another unstoppable guide. Today's guest is Sujit Reddy. Sujit was born with Spina bifida and hydrocephalus. He spends his days traveling through his world in a wheelchair, but it doesn't stop or slow him down. He is a CEO of Human Capital Solutions, a TEDx speaker, a world traveler, and I love this, a social currency millionaire. He has a BA from the University of Toronto and a post-grad diploma in human resource management from Sheridan College's School of Business, and he has excelled at everything he has set his mind to do. He enjoys traveling and volunteering in his spare time, like I mentioned. Local causes are near and dear to his heart. He has traveled locally and internationally. He spends a lot of time in India, the US, and various places throughout Europe and Asia, and he always looks forward to doing more of both when he can. We all love to travel. Through his life, Sujit has sought to make the world a better place for all, and he considers himself, as I said, a social currency millionaire, which I love, meaning he has a lot to offer personally, and he continues to do so every day. Please welcome Sujit. Hi, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you, Frankie?
Good. I look at all of your pictures, and I see that you're very proud Canadian, very proud to be from Toronto, but you are of Indian descent,
Yes.
East Indian descent. Were
Yes.
you born in Canada?
I was born and raised in Toronto. I'm a Toronto boy through and through. I bleed blue and white, as they say.
I love
Toronto
it.
Maple Leafs, no matter
For
how.
the Toronto Maple Leafs, for those in
bad
the
they
US
are.
that don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. But, so what was it like? Give us a sense of you as a little boy growing up. You have a mom and dad. You have two sisters, I believe. Are you
Yes.
the eldest?
I am the eldest, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So everybody baby and mother you? Those
No,
girls?
not really. No, I mean, I think within my family, and not only my nuclear family, but my extended family in India, the fact that I have a disability really kind of what's it called? The allure of it, the novelty of it, rather,
Right.
kind of wore off really, really quickly.
Okay.
I mean, especially as my two younger sisters came along, we were all raised in the same way. We all grew up in the same way. And I've said this in other interviews in the past that I was raised with them in that whatever good things we did, we all got awarded and rewarded in the same ways, and whatever bad things we may have done as kids, we got punished in the same ways, So there was no real special treatment, quote unquote, for me. And I mean, I think that's really what formed who I am today in terms of, my parents had the same expectations of me as they did my two younger sisters, whether it was in school or life or treating others the way we treat others. We have to treat everybody, with love and respect. And so the expectations of me were the exact same. So, yeah.
Toronto's an extremely diverse city. Did you grow up among East Indians, or was the melting pot?
It
What
was
your
a bit
neighborhood?
of both. It was a bit of both. My family, my parents rather, a very interesting thing. My dad came to Canada in 1964 into Toronto, and was here as a bachelor himself for about 10 years. But in that time, he did a lot of world traveling, and that kind of opened him up to more than just Indian culture and community. And so, he was very much multicultural in that sense by the time he married my mom in 74 and when she came to Canada. And I mean, that's not to say that my mom isn't multicultural. She is very much so.
Right.
The two of them raised us, again, like I said, to respect everybody equally, and understand that everybody has their differences and just accept those differences. We growing up, to answer your question, we did grow up with the Indian community very much so, to know our religion and our culture and such. But at the same time, our parents exposed us to other folks of other religions, of other cultures. I mean, as a matter of fact, my quote unquote unofficial godparents are of Macedonian descent.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
Interesting.
So they actually, my dad was good friends with the I guess our uncle in that sense, Nick.
Right. Yeah.
Uncle Nick. And so, when he married my mom, she just was accepted into that adopted family. And so, we grew up knowing that they were part of our family, as does their son now, Alexander, who is now married and has a wife, and she accepts us in the same way. And so, yeah, so we were multicultural in that sense, but also too, like, we did the Indian cultural shows. We participated in songs and dances and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been very, very good and lucky and fortunate that we do live in a country like Canada and a city like Toronto to have that opportunity and that kind of upbringing.
Yeah. You were extremely outgoing. I love it. And like, who do you take after in that sense in your family? Your mom, dad?
Oh, wow. So I can be outgoing as you're seeing now, but I can also be very reserved and very quiet and very to myself. I mean,
sure. We all
need that, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, my dad was more the outgoing person, whereas my mom is more the quiet, laid back, observing, kind of, that kind of personality. So yeah.
Well, oftentimes people with challenges, physical challenges, they're not maybe as outgoing. They don't want to be seen or, just blend in, right? Like just kind of hide within the crowd. And yet, you've got this extrovert personality and I'm here. Right? Here I am. Come and get me. So it's fantastic and I love it. And, so as a child, as a young boy in school, like, were you the popular one? Were you the class clown? Like, who were you in that group, in that mix?
That one's a very interesting one. So back to my story. My mom and my dad always encouraged me to go out and do things and be a part of the world, as it were,
Right.
Whether it's going to the gym on Saturdays and playing wheelchair basketball or going to our Sunday school or going to school and just being a part of school and after school programs. Like I did the piano for a bit. I was in the choir at grade school and all this stuff. So
what area of town did you grow up in? Sorry.
So I grew up originally in East York, Ontario, Canada, which was a smaller borough. Then we moved to Mississauga, which was a larger city, and now I'm back in Toronto. I live on my own. I have my own apartment here in Toronto, but my mom still lives in Mississauga. She has a nice house there with one of my sisters lives there, and the other one kind of goes back and forth between her own place and my mom's place. So
are you downtown Toronto, like right in the heart?
I'm more by Yorkdale Mall area.
Oh, okay. So I know exactly where you are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But so I mean, what I was saying was, so in growing up, that was a situation where I was always outgoing, and so that's, I think, kind of helped me to later on in life and even now, like, to network and kind of get what I want out of life. You're right. There are a lot of people with disabilities that are scared to go out and be a part of the world because they don't want others to look at them. They don't want others to judge them. They don't want others to, them to be a burden to others. They think that they're a burden to others. They think that, oh my God, these places aren't going to be accessible. How am I going to manage? Da da da. And I think it's a mindset thing too. It's a focus thing. And I've learned that, no matter what I do, no matter where I go, to be positive and know that one way or the other things are going to work out. And if you want to make them work out, you need to ask. And it's all about the power of ask, which is a book that I'm going to be actually hopefully releasing by the end of this year, or if not next year.
I love that.
Yeah, the
Power
power of
of
ask.
ask.
Yeah,
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 people are afraid to ask. And it's funny, like people go, oh, well, nobody will do anything for me. And yet they've never asked. And
exactly.
people love to help other people. They really do. I think
Yeah,
given the opportunity, they want to.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, even for me, like like I would ask, but then my parents also, one of the things they were teaching me is like, don't ever let anybody use you, abuse you, or feel bad for you or sorry for you
Hmm.
because you're a person with a disability. Never use that as an excuse. Always let them see who you are as a human being and as a
Right.
person. And even when I'm talking to people, often they won't pay attention to the wheelchair because, like you said, like I'll come into a room and my energy that I've developed and my presence, I'll make them kind of pay attention to what I'm saying
Hmm.
and my that energy, and they often will forget about the wheelchair.
Exactly.
I used to go out, in my university days with my friends. We'd go out, to parties and stuff, and we'd be going up towards a flight of stairs, and they'd be, talking to me, and we'd be walking and going towards these flight of stairs. They'd start going up the stairs, and then I would stop, obviously, and
Yeah.
I'm in the chair, and my voice would be trickling away, and they keep going. They turn around and be like, "Oh, right." So yeah,
Yeah, you forget about it. You become
yeah,
blind
they
to it.
absolutely forget about it. So
Yeah, yeah. It's
um,
interesting. I spent 6 months in a wheelchair, so just, a little bit of personal experience because
yeah,
I had a motorcycle accident and I broke both
well,
femurs. And how people treat you is so different. And when you're at eye level in a store and, they don't look at you necessarily and it's like, hello, I'm down here and you can see
yeah,
me. I know you can, and I want to
yeah,
pay for things. And
yeah.
for me, the worst thing was, well, you're a guy, so I don't know, but the bathroom stalls are at the very, very far end for people with wheelchairs. Like, why can't they just make them at the front where you don't, it's easier to get
Well,
in? Things like
so
that. You think of
the
it in
whole,
the
the
world
whole
in a whole new way.
yeah, absolutely. The whole topic of accessibility in
Yes,
and of itself is like a larger topic that we can't get done in a minute or 30 seconds.
exactly.
We gotta kind of have a whole thing about that, I think.
Well, thank you for that segue into our commercial. We are going to go to commercial break. Sujit Reddy will be with us when we get back. Don't worry about that. We will talk about accessibility if folks want to. If you want to give us a call, you can. The number is 903-787-5887, 903-787-5887. If you want to join the conversation, you are welcome to. We'll be right back.
That's right. Don't stop listening. Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Stop.
It's words you never heard.
It's well known in medical practices that patients tend to lie about their health habits. They lie about how much they smoke, understate how much they drink or eat, and overstate how much they exercise. What's another word for those little white lies we like to tell in the examination room? Taradiddles. Doctors have a rule of thumb. Whatever the patient says they're drinking, smoking, or eating, multiply it by 2. But it's hard to come clean about your habits when you know you're in for some jobation from the doctor. That's criticism we don't want to hear. If physicians want us to be honest with them, I suggest they try being a little less judgmental and use a little suaviloquence. That's soothing, encouraging talk.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
A common problem for older adults is loss of balance. The chance of mortality is much higher if you have osteoporosis and you fall and break a bone. So concentrate on exercises that build the muscles at the hip, abdomen, and back, because these help maintain your balance and support your spine. Pilates, Tai Chi, and yoga are all good exercise programs to include with your cardio work, because they help improve balance and flexibility and promote better awareness of the mind and body. Weight-bearing exercises, especially weightlifting, will build bone and can even help regain lost bone density. Add balance exercises to your workout now so that as you age, balance does not become an issue for you. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. To hear other fitness and weight loss tips, visit our website at AnnetteHammond.com.
So are you feeling unstoppable today? I sure am. You are listening to Mission Unstoppable Radio. My name is Frankie Picasso. I am your host, and my guest today is Sujit Reddy. And just before we went to our break, Sujit and I were just getting started on the topic of accessibility, which is something that we, all don't think about until we need to. But it's part of Sujit's everyday life, and it's something that he needs to be concerned with, and something that he concerned others with as well, which I think is really great. We'll talk a little bit about that, but as I mentioned in the beginning, he is the CEO of Human Capital Solutions, which started out as, I guess it was just an agency to help people with disability get jobs. Is that correct? And
yes, that was the idea when it first started. We were just in an idea phase. It didn't really launch as that. My company kind of has evolved into different things, and I find that like with a lot of things, you don't necessarily have to give up on anything. You just make it evolve and turn and change it as things happen, right? So
right, yeah. And I want folks to go to your website. They can totally do that, and don't make the mistake I did, which was to at the end he has co instead of com, and just kept putting the M on the end of that.
Yeah.
So it's www.humancapitalsolutions.co. C-O. Okay.
Just to let you and your listeners know, that particular website, I'm actually currently going through a revamp with it. So there will be a new website showing, I hope, by the end of this week.
Awesome.
I'm leaving it with my web developers to do it. And so sometimes things take a little longer, but I'm hoping that it'll get up by the end of this week. They also can go to www.sujitspeaks.com. That's my speaking website. They can go there as well to find me and contact me through various social media platforms that I'm on. So
let's talk a little bit about accessibility. How does it affect you? I'm going to say one thing.
Sure.
David Cohen. David is a friend to both of us, good friend.
Absolutely, yeah, amazing.
And David had actually suggested you for a guest on the show, and I asked David. I said, "What is it? What do you want me to know about Sujit? What is it that you like about him, or what should I say?" And he said that he admires you greatly because you show up at every networking event, and that you have to take Wheel-Trans to get there. Yeah. And you have to be very social or very patient because Wheel-Trans doesn't always come on time. Right. And that, to be patient and social and outgoing and not let it interfere with, your disability and more importantly, your abilities. Right. And he just thinks that you truly make a difference in people's lives. And I think that that's really special.
Wow. Yeah, David has been a good person and a good friend to me. For a long time, he's been a mentor to me and helped me kind of know about different events he does, and kind of gives me advice on things I'm doing. I can run things by him, and he'll help me navigate through some stuff. So it's been great. Good dude.
Yes.
But in terms of Wheel-Trans, I'll talk about three different things I think in terms of accessibility. First thing is, with Wheel-Trans here in Toronto, don't get me wrong, we are blessed to have a system that takes me from point A to point B and charges me one fare and gets me there safely and door to door. We do. It's great. It's fantastic for that. But in terms of the user experience, there are a lot of things that they can improve upon. As with anything, you can always improve upon something.
Sure.
So there are a lot of hardships. For example, last night I went to Mo Mondays and experienced a bit of a difficulty with one of the drivers. Wheel-Trans contracts out to various drivers, and sometimes some of these drivers, although they get trained, don't necessarily have grasp of how to treat people, let's just say. And I just had a bad experience with them. So you know what? Great service. Sometimes there's hits and misses, but I think, again, it's all an attitude, how you deal with it. And, as long as you remain positive, you're good. what was I going to? Oh, yeah. So then also, too, in terms of accessibility, you had mentioned, I think, before the break about counters, about
Yeah,
service
going to
counters.
stores and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going to stores and stuff and wheelchair washrooms. In terms of counters, I've found that, often counters are way too high because my wheelchair and I sit lower than people can actually see me. So
Right.
I usually have to like stick my hand up and wave my hand and say, "Hey, I'm here," type of
Yeah.
thing. Because
Yeah.
they'll be looking around and they won't look down. So
Yes.
there's that trick I've learned. Um, and in terms of wheelchair washrooms, usually there's one stall in a
Yes.
washroom, and usually people will be using that one stall, although there's all these other stalls they can use that
Right.
they don't, people that don't need to use it, rather, like able
Right.
folks. And I give them a look and I give them a stare as they leave, and it's like, sometimes I'll get this this response that, oh, I use it because there's room. It's roomy.
Yeah.
And as I used to let it go, I used to not say anything. And now it's kind of like, well, why do you think there's room there?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
There's room there because for people with disabilities or in a wheelchair, rather, they need that room to maneuver.
I just never understood it as being in that my time in the wheelchair, why they would make it the very last stall. So you have to go by all of them and
Right.
maneuver your wheelchair. I had to take the legs off of mine to even get in. Like it was just ridiculous. So
That's
our
good,
designers think about that.
That's a good point. I never thought of that one. They should put them by
the first one.
The first one, the very entrance. Yeah.
Make it a
You're
lot easier.
I didn't think about that. I was just more like, I just get more upset at the fact that, why are you using it when all these other stalls are empty? Like, come on.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's my big pet peeve. So, like, anyone out there who's listening, be an advocate. Be like, if you see that, all these other stalls are empty, use the empty stalls and let people with disabilities or people in wheelchairs use that wheelchair stall. And if you see somebody else do what I just said, that they use the wheelchair stall and not the other ones, point them out. Call them out on it.
Yeah.
Help others out. Yeah.
This might be a little indelicate, but you do like to travel, and you've traveled to Asia, which is like 20 million hour flight. How do you manage in an airplane?
So the last time I traveled that far was about 10 years ago, and I used to go to India every 3-4 years, I would say, when I was younger. On a plane, it's interesting. Getting on a plane is interesting because they have these onboard wheelchairs which just fit through the aisles.
Oh, they do. I've never seen one actually. I guess on a big 747.
Yeah. It's well, no, any wheelchair. Any
airplane. Oh, okay.
But yeah, the 747s, 757s especially, they have these onboard wheelchairs where they'll go through the aisles, but they're so narrow that as they're taking me through the aisles, I have bumps and bruises on my elbows and shoulders, and it's like, I'm sorry, watch your foot. I'm sorry, watch your hand. I'm sorry. So because
your upper body is very large.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're very yeah.
No, I have a very large upper body just because I push myself around, right? Like, I mean, I don't use my legs, so my arms
do everything.
Do everything, right? They're doing double work. So yeah, my upper body is large because of that.
Well, I have to ask you this question because I'm just I'm going where the flow goes. So I was reading about you went to Taj Mahal.
Yes.
And there was a number of steps to get in or get up.
Yes.
And you talked about how people looked at you and you looked at them and they didn't want to carry you up those steps.
Nope.
So you got out of your wheelchair.
Yep.
And you crawled up those steps?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've had several situations like that, but that one in particular, we had traveled. This was last time we were in India 10 years ago. We did the Golden Triangle Tour, as they called it, which included the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was, quote unquote, the crown jewel of all the sites that we saw, and I really wanted to go on this tour because of that
Taj Mahal
site, right?
Yeah.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and this dude proceeds to tell me this. I was like, nah, I'm not having it. I mean, I came here to see that. I'm seeing that somehow, some way. So I pop myself out of the chair. This guy like looks at me with shock, and I tell my mom and my sisters and my cousin who was with us, please just bring the wheelchair up behind me. So I popped myself up and got myself up the stairs, and they brought the wheelchair up. And I mean, I do that.
God bless you.
Yeah,
wow.
I do that kind of stuff here anyway. Like, to get into people's houses, to even up and down my mom's stairs. Now, I mean, again, it's 10 years later. My arms aren't what they used to be. I recently got told by a masseuse that I've got tendinitis in both arms.
Oh, geez.
So, and even now to push my wheelchair around, I'm in pain. I get a lot of pain.
How come you don't have an electric wheelchair?
So
that's coming?
I'm just in the process of getting that, but I'm trying to get a new manual wheelchair, because this one's kind of my one that I'm looking at right now in front of me is starting to fall apart.
Right. So you want a manual to keep yourself in shape, or you not do both a little bit?
No, because with the electric chairs you can't fold, right?
Oh, okay.
I need a new manual chair so that when I do travel with my family or friends or whatever, they can pull the chair and it can pop into any trunk. And even if I travel overseas, because I do want to go back to India at some point. Sure. Just for ease of that. Just to have that,
I see. Okay. Wow. Well, that's, I'm sorry to hear about the tendinitis, but I know when I wheeled myself around in a wheelchair, I was in the greatest shape of my life. It really was a good workout. It really was. We are going to go to a commercial break shortly, but when we come back, can you give us a description of the Taj Mahal, what it was like to go? Because I'm really, we're still here. We're going to go to our, okay.
Yep.
We're going to a commercial break in just a moment. When we come back, I'd like to hear more about the Taj Mahal, what it was like for those of us who aren't going to probably get over there to witness it firsthand.
Sure.
That'd be awesome. And we're going to also talk about your TEDx experience. I know people want to know about that and much, much more. Don't go anywhere. We are coming right back. It's Mission Unstoppable Radio with your host, Frankie Picasso.
Don't stop.
That's right. Don't stop listening. Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Don't stop.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Do you wake up not feeling great? Do you struggle with low energy during the day? Are you unhappy with your weight or your appearance? If you can say yes to any of these, then you need to know that you can change that. Now is the time to live your most excellent life. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. You have the power to change how you feel and to increase your energy. You have the power to change your weight and your appearance. All it takes is exercise and healthy eating. How simple is that? By exercising daily, doing something you love, like walking outside or bike riding, you can assure that you are on the road to living your most excellent life. Continue in healthy eating and daily activity and choose to enjoy your life to the fullest. Wake up in the morning and feel great. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond.
It's words you never heard.
Big girls don't cry, right? According to a recent Wall Street Journal article by Dennis Nishi, there's a stigma attached to turning on the waterworks at the office. 61% of men who reported crying at work cited personal reasons, an illness in the family, the death of a pet is the catalyst, while 58% of women said it was something that happened at work, being unfairly blamed or criticized. Men are like mascara. They run at the first sign of hubbub. That's another word for crying. What's the word for the fear of intense emotion? Xenophobia. Women may have a better excuse for crying than men, as females have higher levels of prolactin, which encourages the production of tears, making it easier to be known as a lachrymist, or someone who cries at the drop of a hat.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
And we're back. It's Mission Unstoppable Radio. My guest is Sujit Reddy, and I am your host, Frankie Picasso, and I just love all of you unstoppable ones who join us each and every week. We were off to the Taj Mahal in India, and Sujit was going to describe it for us. So it's a love story, the Taj Mahal, right? It was built.
Yes, it was. I'm not too sure. It was basically the Maharaj, or the king at the time, built it for his wife as a thing to show how much he loved his wife, and so that's the story behind it. That's a very generic story, but I don't know all the details. But the Taj Mahal was a beautiful experience, one I'm never going to forget. The day was great. Like, it was perfect weather for the Taj Mahal. It was everything people see in a picture or a movie or a show. It was incredible to be able to walk around. And the way they've set things up now is, I think it's like 5 kilometers radius. They don't have any vehicles with gas or diesel in the 5-kilometer radius. So it's only electric powered vehicles in that radius. And so all of the stones are very white. The air is very clear, and it's really an amazing thing for India anyhow.
Wow.
India can get very crowded, and India can get very smoggy, shall we say. Yeah.
Is it marble, the whole thing?
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
All of it all marble and amazing carvings in the stone, and yeah.
So when you walk in, describe when you walk in. Is it like, is it?
Yeah,
like...
pretty much. Well,
yeah.
I mean, after I got up the stairs, as I was kind of narrating, I got up the stairs, got into my chair, turned around, and there it was in the distance. And it was like, okay, all right. And so then we, walked towards it through the crowds and such. And, it was just like, wow, I'm actually here. This is cool. So,
now, does somebody live in it now?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Yeah.
I shouldn't ask you such hard questions.
I don't believe so. I mean, I didn't see anybody there, so I don't believe so. Yeah.
That's
But yeah, accessibility is interesting, even in that part of the world. Like, it's accessibility is great if, it's one thing to do the physical changes, but it's a totally other thing to be on board with those changes.
Right.
That's what I find the difference between North America and a place like India, where it's really hard to have all the social services that we do here. Like, we spoke about Wheel-Trans here.
Right.
There, you can't even find a taxi for an able-bodied person because it's so busy, let alone find a, wheelchair accessible minivan for a person.
I'm sure that you've thought of it before, and even though you like to travel there, imagine if you had grown up there with your disability, how different life would be for you.
Yeah. And I do think about that often. So whenever we've gone back to India, we're from Bangalore, which is in the south. It's considered the Silicon Valley of the East.
Okay.
And so it's fairly busy, and they have a home for the disabled, they call it.
Okay.
And so we go and we visit that home for the disabled, just to kind of visit with the kids that are there. And you've got kids there with all different kinds of disabilities, from all different walks of life. It's not just poor kids. It's poor kids, middle-class kids, rich kids too. And it's the families that leave them there because they don't have the resources or the means to take care of them properly. And so they leave these kids in this home for the disabled, and we go and we visit. And it's just it opens my eyes every time I go, to humble me to realize how lucky I've had it here in this world. And I'm now, everything I do now, I keep that in mind, that, I'm so lucky to be here, so blessed to be here. What can I do to enhance the lives of people with disabilities, children with disabilities around the world?
So what do you do? I know that you like to volunteer. Does that have anything to do with that?
So I do some voluntear work, but that's just more so locally. I do some speaking now that I want to kind of do more of. I do speaking all around Ontario, and I do work with kids sometimes through Junior Achievement is one organization I've partnered with, and also DECA. DECA is another organization that's more for high schools, high school kids, where that's more of an academic thing, but it's more of a mentorship role I take there. And I love working with kids. Yeah. I love speaking to kids. Even my TED Talk that you had asked me to refer to, my TED Talk was for youth, TEDx youth in Brampton. It was done in 2014 when they first started that chapter of TEDx Youth. And so I was asked to come and speak as one of their inaugural speakers, which I'm totally thrilled about still.
Sure, yeah.
And I just find when I do speaking, I prefer to do speaking with kids and young adults because you can see in their eyes that they're truly getting what you're saying and it's resonating. And even with that TEDx experience, my mom was there and she was in the audience and she was holding onto my phone, which was of course on silent. And then, after the talk was done, she hands me my phone and says, "You better check your phone because your phone was like constantly
going crazy."
Buzzing. Yeah, it was going crazy. It was buzzing. I thought someone was calling. I'm like, okay. So I check, and all of my Facebook, all of my Twitter, like there was a lot of Twitter mentions, and there was a lot of Facebook, friendship requests, and all this stuff, and all the kids in this audience of 200 some odd people had been, tweeting me and
signing you up as a friend and
live quoting or live tweeting
awesome
stuff I was saying. I was totally humbled. I was totally taken aback. I'm like, oh my God, they're actually listening. This is cool.
That's really cool. So if people want to watch that, it's on YouTube because I know I watched it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's a little bit difficult to find because apparently the title of it is the Secret of Life or Secret to Life, I think it is.
Oh, the Secret to Life, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people now have they use that title for whatever else they're doing. So it was a little hard for me to find even when I was preparing for this.
I must have just run into it.
Yeah. But I mean it is on my site.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sujit Speaks site. So if people when they go to my site, they'll see it there anyhow. So it's there.
Yeah. Sujit Speaks.
SujitSpeaks.com, yeah. But the reason I was looking for it is I applied to do a TEDx Toronto talk for this year, for this conference in 2017. So I'm crossing my fingers and my toes, and hopefully I get it. It's a process, and it's a selection process that I'm hoping that happens.
That they pick you. Yeah, I think that's really cool. That's it's quite a coup, and so congratulations to you for even doing one. Like a lot of people, that would scare the crap out of them.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, I find with me for speaking, I used to think that, I have to touch all 200 people in the audience. And it's like, no, it's, what? Even if you connect with one person, even if you change the life of one person by something you said, even if you trigger in them something that they need to do with their life or some lesson they've learned from you, you've done your job, often, people, I want to be, I'm trying to level up to become an even better speaker and become a next level speaker, like a Tony Robbins or a Les Brown or Nick Vukovic, I think, and Sean Stevenson, right? Because those guys, they get to speak from their heart, but at the same time, they're making good money doing it, right? But,
that's right.
But I think first the lessons that need to be learned for myself and for others who are in the speaking journey is that you got to do it for yourself first. Yeah. You got to want to do it for yourself first, and then the money will come, right? So it has been a longer journey. I've been doing speaking since about 2012, and we're in 2017 now. So,
Yeah. Did you do the Toastmasters route? Did you go that route or?
I did do Toastmasters for a while. I didn't compete or anything of that in that nature, but I've done a lot of other training and such. I do a lot of one-off training. In fact, I'm going to be doing some training all day tomorrow with through Mo Mondays. They're doing a speaker training workshop tomorrow
Awesome.
here in Toronto. So I'm going to be going to
That's
that.
great.
That's going to be
That's something that, a lot of people maybe don't think about. You do have your degrees and so you're credentialed and all of that, but learning never stops.
No, absolutely
Learning never
not.
stops. And the more that you get involved, and you are very involved, and I think that that's something else that people ability and those without, need to concern themselves with, is that you don't just sit at home and watch TV. You are out there, and you've got two groups that I absolutely love. The Work Hard, Play Harder TO and your Social Media Saturdays TO.
Right.
Now, they're in Toronto, but big deal. They could be anywhere. And I think it's very exciting. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about those. But the fact that, you're looking at yourselves as a commodity, and how can I improve this commodity, and what can I add to that toolbox that's going to take me to that next level?
Absolutely.
And you're thinking ahead. Can I ask how old you are?
I just turned 40.
Okay, well, happy 40. And February 25th, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, happy birthday, belated. And that's a good. Life isn't over. You've got another good 40 maybe years forward that you're going to live. And my specialty was midlife, and so my book was on midlife. But I'm saying you've got these years behind you, but you've also got a whole new adventure forward that you need to live. And so it'd be pretty boring if you just stayed the same, right? So people, able-bodied or not, need to continue to add to their toolbox.
Yeah, and I think for me. Turning 40 and expressing to you like the difficulty I just faced with the tendonitis in my arms, I was feeling low and down about it, and because I had all these plans of these are all the things I'm going to be doing, and I had it all planned out, and now it's like I have to now negotiate and see within myself. Okay, so now how do I alter and change the plans so I can still do this stuff, but at the same time recognizing and realizing I can't do it in the same way I wanted to because of my arms and because of what's going on. So, I'm in that process, and I'm, I think the key, and I think you alluded to it, for me, I always say, keep pushing forward, no matter what. And I even have it as a hashtag. I often hashtag.
Well, we're going to push into this next commercial, but we're going to come out of it, and we'll talk to you a little bit more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Sujit.
That's right. Don't stop listening. Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso will continue right after these messages.
Stop.
It's words you never heard.
It's well known in medical practices that patients tend to lie about their health habits. They lie about how much they smoke, understate how much they drink or eat, and overstate how much they exercise. What's another word for those little white lies we like to tell in the examination room? Taradiddles. Doctors have a rule of thumb. Whatever the patient says they're drinking, smoking, or eating, multiply it by 2. But it's hard to come clean about your habits when you know you're in for some jobation from the doctor. That's criticism we don't want to hear. If physicians want us to be honest with them, I suggest they try being a little less judgmental and use a little suaviloquence. That's soothing, encouraging talk.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Word.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
We live in an instant society, and we don't like to wait for anything. When it comes to weight loss, we want that extra weight off now. Even though the temptation is there to try a crash diet, it is not the best choice. You need to lose weight gradually, not instantly. When you cut your calories back too much, you will feel fatigued and have very low energy. Harvard Medical School recommends that women do not go below 1,200 calories a day, and men do not go below 1,500 calories per day. A sensible goal is to try to lose a half a pound to a pound a week. Don't skimp on essential nutrients that your body needs. Losing weight does not have to be a dreaded event. It should be positive and will give you extra energy when it's done right. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. Visit our Facebook fan page at Fitness Minute with Annette Hammond.
And we're back, Mission Unstoppable Radio. I'm your host, Frankie Picasso. My guest today is Sujit Reddy. And Sujit and I were talking about his, the tendonitis in his arms and moving forward in midlife. How is life going to present in the future? But, he's looking at that. He's looking at the picture. He's changing the picture. He's being fluid. He's being flexible. And that's what's important to getting the life that you want to live. And we were talking off air about #power of ask. And I said, you're just going to have to ask somebody to push you, or ask somebody to lift you, or ask somebody to get you in that room, because your mouth still works.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been interesting, but it's all about moving forward and keep pushing, as I say, you don't give up on things that you really want out of life.
Right.
Just keep moving forward and just make plans as you go with things that don't necessarily work out for you. And just do the best of it as you can, and enjoy life and enjoy the process. Don't worry about the end result necessarily. Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list?
I have a live list.
A little list?
A live list.
Oh, a live list. Okay.
Because bucket list to me, it's negative. It's
is it?
Yeah. To me it is. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, what do I want to accomplish before I die? But
right.
The live list is more to me like, what do I want to do right now in the moment? If I have the money, if I have the resources, and so on and so forth. Do I have one? I mean, I would love to travel more. I would love to see places like Egypt, although right now you don't really want to go.
Yeah, you don't really go there. Yeah.
But, just for the sake of the pyramids and the Sphinx and so on, and the Nile. I always had a thing for Egyptology, which is the study of Egypt and all the pyramids and all that stuff.
Sure.
I've been fascinated by it. And ancient culture stuff. I like the ancient culture stuff. I'm a sci-fi geek. I love science fiction stuff. I love things about space and theories about space and all that. So, maybe the opportunity to do more of that. What else? So, bucket list wise, traveling. I mean, traveling would be the one, but it'd be like, there's several.
Would you put your name on that list to go to, to the moon or substation or whatever? Would you do that?
I would, yes. But I think the ticket for that one is quite pricey. I think there's a couple actually, and they won't tell us who that couple is, but there's a couple that's been earmarked by SpaceX, which is the firm that's built these rockets to go into space, that are developing planes that can travel in space type of thing. Sure. And there's this rich couple that has already got a ticket for $1 billion.
Wow.
I think it is. And it's like, I don't have that kind of money.
No.
Yet,
But if you had that money, would you do it?
Yeah, I would. I think I'd be scared in terms of because I don't like heights to begin with.
Right.
But because you watch on TV or in movies how rockets go up into space.
Sure.
And it's
fire behind them.
I don't know if I could handle that. But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I'm a Trekkie. I'm a Star Wars guy, and so all that stuff, that'd be cool to kind of.
Are you young enough to remember the Jetsons?
Of course.
Okay. So, I mean, I was just thinking the other day how cool it is that almost everything that I loved about the Jetsons has come true.
Oh, I know.
I'm just waiting for those little cars that you can, drive
that's
around.
Coming, eh?
Little airplane cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything has come out of that. It's kind of like been developed, and it's so cool. I just love it.
Uber is actually developing, which is what I've been watching. Uber is going to develop cars that fly. They've already got them in Dubai. I saw a demonstration. Yeah, I actually saw a demonstration on Facebook about it. They're testing them out right now. So that, flying cars where you don't have to drive.
Yeah.
Necessarily, it would be good for me even, because I don't deal with my foot controls and my hand controls. It would just fly me to wherever.
Yeah. Do you drive? Have you been driven?
So I learned how to drive. when everyone else learned how to drive at 16.
16, yeah.
But then university kind of took over, and I wasn't able to kind of complete the deal. So I never ended up actually completing it.
Okay.
As
Do you
such.
ever wish that you could just get in your own car and go?
Sometimes yes, and most times no, because I mean,
You have to.
yeah, I'd enjoy the freedom, but I'd be too nervous, about traffic and other people, and yeah. So I'm okay to get into a taxi or have somebody else drive me around. So
yeah.
I mean, like you asked me about liveless. Now that I think about it, having my own luxury car and a driver is one of the liveless things. So there's that.
Right.
And living in a nice. I mean, I live in a nice enough apartment now, but to have a nice penthouse condo apartment here in Toronto, and then also out in this either California or Florida would be nice, or even in India for that matter, in Bangalore, just to go to and kind of be there for my summer vacation type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So
you don't have a problem handling all those hours in a plane?
Well, I mean, if I'm not doing it off, well, the other liveless thing too would be to have my own private jet, but
sure,
that's far and beyond. But no, I mean, I sleep in the plane, and I would sleep in the plane, and I would watch movies. I'm a movie guy, right? So
yeah, well, yeah. Let's talk about that really quick before we run out of time. So you've got your work hard, play harder TL, which is where you go to the movies.
Yes.
With and then you guys sit around and you talk about business or whatever it is that you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So who chooses the movies? How does it work? How many people?
So I'm a big movie guy, and how this started was a group of us went to see Star Wars Episode 7, and one of my mentors there, James Ert, he kind of said, "Hey, why don't you create a group around this and have a monthly thing or bi-monthly thing where you invite people to come out and we have a mastermind meal and a networking, mastermind meal and a movie watching thing, and bring together business people." Because for me, I actually had a stroke at 32, a partial stroke, and that was as a result of stress. And for me, one of my things is I see entrepreneurs hustle, trying to make that money, and they stress themselves out or they burn themselves out. So I wanted to create and provide a platform for people to kind of come together in a networking business kind of way, for this mastermind meal, but at the same time, build a community of people who enjoy watching movies and just to be able to relax and chill out for like 2-3 hours and escape, which is what I use movies for. I love watching movies for that. Like allows me to escape into another world for 2-3 hours and let go of what troubles and trials and tribulations I may have here now. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So, and I wanted to do that with other people, and so that's why I created that group. And so it's been going well, and it's building up. But I would love to have a solid community there coming out, at least 10 to 20 people every week. Right now we're anywhere from 4 to 5. So I would love to have that build up to
that's
have
cool.
Committed people, and that's the thing, to have committed people coming out to my stuff. And then I mean, that's why I created it, and it's just to be able to get out of the house and have other people come out and enjoy life.
There you go. So not on your live list, but what's improving your speaking, becoming a TEDx speaker again, getting the Sujit Speaks business more bigger and better and out there. And your human capital solutions, is that going to stay? Is it going to go? It's going to stay.
Human capital solutions is like the parent company.
Okay.
Sujit Speaks is underneath that. It's one of the umbrellas to that. Sure. I also do executive recruiting. I'm going to be partnering with somebody around executive recruiting and helping them out with their firm soon enough. And I'm already.
You got your book?
Huh?
And you got your book?
Yeah. I'm going to be having my books, The Power of Ask and there's going to be another one as well. I'm trying to think of the title for that one. It's escaping me at the moment, but anyway.
And you're part of the anthology, Living Without Limitations.
Yeah, 30 Stories to Heal Your World. Yeah, I did do that. That's where that story came from, the Taj Mahal story.
Right.
But also too, I'm going to be partnering with somebody else, a buddy of mine from childhood. He's bringing together a coaching platform to invite all sorts of coaches to come together and be able to attract clients for coaches. And so I'm going to be helping him out with that because I do some coaching, but always, it's always a struggle, as you know, to find clients, right? So there's that. Everyone wants advice, but no one wants to pay for it.
Exactly.
So,
you got that right.
I've got friends who are coaches, and so amongst us, we kind of help each other out and kind of, coach each other. So that works out. But when it's others who want the coaching, it's like, they'll sit down with you and all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, they're asking me coaching stuff. So
I do some coaching on Fiverr as a kind of pro bono coaching.
Cool.
And they go, well, what do I get for that? How long do I get? I'm like, it's $5. What do you want for $5?
Nice.
It's kind of funny, eh? But yeah, people think because you're talking, it's okay, it's free. But people go to school. I went to school to become a coach. Like I learned a lot, and I taught coaching, and I loved it. But anyway, this is about you. So folks can get your books. They should look for your books. They should go to your website, humancapitalsolutions.co and sujitspeaks.com. If you'd like to have him as a guest speaker, wherever you are in the world, he'll go to you because he loves to travel.
Yeah, I mean, with that too, like I'm open to going anywhere in the world to go for a speaking engagement, as long as
they pay.
The standard things are taken care of, like my flight, my accommodation, my transportation, and of course my speaking fee, right?
That's
which
right.
can be discussed with the individual or the client.
There you go. Sujit, we're out of time. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I really appreciate it. Thank all of you for coming each and every week and listening to Mission Unstoppable Radio. If you did miss the live version, we will see you on the other side anytime you like, at your leisure, at www.thegoodradionetwork.com. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks again, Sujit.
No problem.
Don't stop.
When the chips were down, they didn't stop. Stories of people who, when the odds were against them, turned defeat into victory. You've been listening to Mission Unstoppable with Coach Frankie Picasso. See you next time, and always remember...
Don't stop.